To shorten your spinner mono harness line to your desired length, you need the following: a pair of narrow pliers, a Phillips screwdriver, a small Phillips screwdriver, a meter, a 5.5 wrench, but you can also use the pliers for that in case you don't have that one, a white pen, and a pair of scissors. Together with your spinner harness lines, you get the shrink tubes and a piece of rope. Just to give you an idea how we measure our harness line length. So you take your spinner and you squeeze it so it gets kind of the same extension like you would get when you're hooked in, and you put it on a meter, and so that is the measurement, like where it would touch your boom or your handle. But obviously we have to also consider that the spinner is getting extended a little bit, so the real harness line length is in that case 45. If your harness line, for example, is 45 centimeters and you want to shorten it down to, for example, 38, which means you want to shorten it by 7 centimeters, you need to trim the tube by 14 cm. Step 1, we're gonna unmount the top part of the spinner. For this we take our pliers to pull out the stainless steel pin. After you take the pin out, you can unmount the top part of the spinner. Next step, we have to take out that screw. With our large Phillips screwdriver, we take out the screw. Then you can slide off the tube. So now you can see the simple mechanics of the spinner. Now we need to open these two screws to release the dyneema rope. So we can unmount the tubes from the bottom part of the spinner. Now with a small Phillips screwdriver we open up these two screws. You don't need to unscrew them completely, just leave on the nuts. Now we can pull out the tube from the bottom part. Let's say we want to shorten the overall length by 5 cm. We need to shorten the tube by 10 cm. So mark the amount you want to trim off. Then take your scissors and very carefully cut through the first layer of the tube. Now very carefully cut the outside tube lengthwise. Now mark the same length you cut from the outside tube on the inside tube. Please do not cut the tube like this, but cut it lengthwise like you have done with the outside layer tube. Always be careful not to damage the dyneema rope on the inside. And when you get to your mark, pull out the dyneema rope and then cut off the tube just like this without damaging the dyneema rope. Now please check that both tubes are cut to the same length. Now grab the dyneema rope and pull it until the tubes set in place again. Give it a strong pull to get the tubes really settled down until the bottom. Now push the cleat as close as possible towards the plastic part. The nuts should be on the Dyneema rope side, and the rubber rope should be on the screw side. Now you get your piece of rope and you pull it through the eyelet of the swivel. And then you pass the ends through the aluminium tube. Then you give it a pull and you slide the aluminium tube back in place. Line up the screw hole and put back the screw in place. Now we pass the rope through the top part to get it back in place. Now you can pull out the swivel and insert the pin again. To reset the knot of the Dyneema rope, we pull the rope out all the way. That's about the distance the spinner should have in a rotating state. So keep that distance by holding the spinner and put a mark on your Dyneema rope. Now pull out the rope and put a knot at the marked position. Now pull the knot tight and check if you got the right amount of extension. If necessary, readjust the knot position. And the last step, we cut off the Dyneema rope about the same length as the elastic cord. Now melt the tip of the rope and slide on the piece of shrink tube that you got with your spinner. Get your lighter and heat up the shrink tube a little bit. Congratulations, you made it. You shortened your spinner to the right length. Now get on the water and create some new spinning moves.